Hey guys, welcome to Exit 45. Me and Dad are here in another cold Florida morning. Well, relatively speaking, it's cold. Anyway, we had to spend a little time on my 2016 Honda Civic. I'm going to replace the front knuckles assembly on this thing. It's getting that hum sound that the bearings pretty much shot. So 410,000 on a set of bearings. I'm not too concerned about it. We'll get some new ones in there, all right? Okay, so the first thing we got to do is we got to get this thing up in the air. I've already broke the lug nuts loose. We're going to get it up in the air. We don't need to put it on jack stand yet. We just need to pull the tire, pop the center piece out of the rim, put the tire back on, loosely tighten it up, put it back down so we can bust the big nut for the axle. Then we can jack it up, take the tires off, and start the process. All right? Okay, we're just going to pop that out now that we got the tire off. There you go. Okay, we got the tire, just a couple of lug nuts holding it on, and now we're going to have to pop the big nut out of here. And that's going to require us to put this back on the ground, get some weight on the wheels. And there's a crush washer, a tab washer here. We'll have to open that back up a little bit. We should be able to just pull that off. It's not too difficult. Okay, now we just want to break this nut. All right, we got it broke loose. We got it off. We can go ahead and take the tire off now, get it on jack stands, and start replacing that knuckle. All right, so to get this knuckle off of here, we're gonna have to separate it from the strut. We got a bracket here that holds on the rubber line for the brakes and your ABS cable. We'll pull that loose from the knuckle. We got your steering linkage here. We'll need to pop that off. And the brake caliper, we'll have to pull that off and out of the way. And I think once we get all of that, we'll have to lower this A-arm down here. So there's 3 bolts underneath there that we'll have to pull that A-arm down. Anyway, that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right, and the bracket here for the rubber brake line hose and the ABS line is a number 12 millimeter. There we go. All right, and pull that off. All right, we're going to go ahead and get the brake caliper next, and that's number 12 as well. That one was on there. All right, once you got that loose, we'll find a spot back here to tuck it so it's not hanging from the line. Okay, so now we got to take the brake caliper mounting bracket off, and that's 2 number 17 millimeter bolts, so we'll get those. All right, we'll get that out of the way. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get the rotor off of here, and there's a little Phillips screw right here. We'll try to break that free and get that out. All right, it doesn't want to come out, so we're going to use the impact on it to break it loose. There we go. All right, and the next thing we got to get is the right here where the ABS hooks up to the knuckle as well. So I'm not sure what that is. It looks like it's probably a 10. All right, and it is a number 10 millimeters. So And there's your sensor and your bolt. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is bring the steering linkage here off. So we'll pull that cotter key. We'll break the nut and back it off until it's about flush with the top, so we can knock it loose with a sledgehammer without damaging the threads or anything. All right. All right, so it's a number 19, and we'll just go ahead and get that broke free. You see, I got the nut brought up, and it's about flush with the threads, so that I don't damage anything. And then we're going to go ahead and there it goes. Now it's loose. There you go. See how it came loose now? There you go. Now we can just pull this off. Oop, there we go. And now we got it loose. There you go. And I'll just put that back on there so I don't lose it. All right, last thing we got to do is we got to take this bolt right here that's got the knuckle tightened up to the strut. All right, and that's number 17 millimeter. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we got to break the A-arm, the lower A-arm here. And those 3 bolts right here, here, and here. You can see them. Anyway, they're number 17s, so we're going to go ahead and break those loose. And that'll be the last thing we have to break loose. And then we will have to pry the A-arm down. It's spring-loaded up. So you have to pry this down. It can be tricky, and you have to do it without cutting this boot. I've done that once already and replaced this axle once, and I don't want to do it again. So we're going to be real careful to pull the A-arm down below this bolts. Once that separates from there, we should be able to work it off of the strut up here and put the new one on. Took a big pry bar, but I got it. I put Loctite on these when I did it last, so that's why they're so tough to get off. All right, so now we got to pry and get this lower A-arm separated from the ball joint here. And there it is. There we go. All right, so I got the shaft out of here, so that you can see already has loosened this up, and there is our old knuckle. All right, this whole thing's going to be replaced, guys. All right, so just to show you guys real quick, this is what we got. It's a Dorman. You can see the part number, and I got this off of Rock Auto, I believe. So, all right, have it. You got them. This is what you do with the tags that come on the parts. You just give them to your pug. All right, anyway, so here's the new one. Again, it's no different than the one we just took off. So we're gonna put this back together for the most part in reverse order. So let's go back together with it. All right, so we got this slid up on here, got the axle fed through the back here, and now what I'm trying to do is get that axle shaft to spline with the hub here and come on in, and then we should be able to just slide all that up and in. So what we had to do was this lower A-arm down here had to be held down out of the way so we could line up our shaft here and get it through and splined onto the hub, and get here where it goes onto the strut, and get that all where it needs to be. So now what we're going to try and do is get this here all the way up against this, and there's also a keyway back here. You got to make sure that that's lined up. There's a little, so you have to make sure this is spun the right direction or it won't go all the way up in there. So if I can figure that out. But anyways, that's it. We'll put the bolt back in here next. All right, so we got the new knuckle up tight against the strut, and they came with a new bolt, so we'll get that in. There you go. All right, so I'm gonna head and put the steering linkage back on. So reverse process, put this back on, cotter key it, good to go. Okay, so the other thing we're gonna do on this is we're gonna replace the lower ball joint while I'm in here. So I've just got a 2x4 here, keeping the lower A-arm stretched down from this. And I gotta go pick up the lower ball joints for both sides, and then I'll put that in. But it's simple. You just got the 3 bolts right there, and you know you got your knuckle right there. So I'll just slide the this portion right here up through the knuckle, and then I'll slide these 3 bolts down in, bolted in. That's it. All right, so we're up here. Here's the lower A-arm, and there's your 3 holes where your ball joint's going to come through. There's your brakes, just orient you. But then when you need to, at some point here, when you do this, you're going to have to lower the this A-arm. And there, you see this pocket right here? You just stick your pry bar up in there, just like that. There, now there's your lower A-arm there. You can just see how easy it is to pry that down. To pry that A-arm down makes it really easy. So anyway, just wanted to show you that. There's your ball joint installed. All right, just got your 3 bolts. There you go, got your 3 bolts there. Got them all in the lower A-arm. And we'll just have to put the bolt and the cotter pin up on this side, and that's it. There it is, guys. All together. I'm just going to tighten all this up. The rest of this, you guys have seen me take it apart, so you know how the brakes go back together. Make sure all of your brackets are secured, and that's pretty much it. Oops, sorry. Tires back on, all that good stuff. Make sure that's tightened, and then tap that down so it goes into this groove so it locks it down. That's pretty much it. And I'll leave it up to you guys, so you can drive it and determine whether you think it needs another alignment. You know, probably not a bad idea though to get the thing realigned once you've taken both of your knuckles off. All right, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'm gonna button this up, and I'll see you guys on the next one.